डियर स्टूडेंट्स, आज मैं आपको एक ऐसे देश के बारे में बताऊंगा जो आज अपना 50वां गोल्डन जुबली इंडिपेंडेंस डे सेलिब्रेट कर रहा है। वो क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? वो इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हिंदुस्तान ने उसको आजाद करवाने के लिए अपना पैसा, अपने सोल्जर्स, बहुत कुछ कुर्बान किया। And because of its sacrifices, that country emerged as one nation in 1971 on the day 26th of March. I'm talking about the Bangladesh, whose official name is People's Republic of Bangladesh. Bangladesh, to the east of India, on the Bay of Bengal, is a South Asian country marked by greenery and many waterways. It's Padma. In India, it is known as Ganga. Meghna and Jamuna rivers create fertile plains and forests. It is the 8th most populous country in the world, with a population of 163 million people. Its area is 1,48,460 square kilometers. It is one of the most densely populated countries of the world. It shares land borders with India to the west, north and east, Myanmar to the southeast, and Bay of Bengal to the south. It is narrowly separated from Nepal and Bhutan by the Siliguri corridor and from China by Sikkim in the north. Dhaka, whose earlier name was Davak, is the capital. Chittagong is the largest seaport. Bangladesh is the largest producer of jute in the world. Its national anthem was written by Rabindranath Tagore, that is Amar Sonar Bangla, which means my golden Bengal. This area is referred in the epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata as a Banga kingdom, Bangladesh. It is also known as Gauda and Samtat. It was a part of the Mauryan Empire under the Ashoka and known for the overseas trade contacts with the Roman world for the export of the muslin and silk to the Middle East, and also known for spreading the philosophy and art to the Southeast Asia. During the Gupta period, one of their kings, Samudragupta, who introduced the Allahabad pillar inscription in which he mentioned the name of the area Davak, which he conquered. The Palas, Chandras, and Sena dynasties ruled this area before the Islam rule. Islam in Bengal was introduced by the Pala rulers through the trade. One of the journals of Muhammad Ghori, that is Ikhtiaruddin Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khilji, conquered Bengal in 1197. During the slave dynasty, it remained its part. Sher Shah Suri also ruled this area. Under the Mughals ruler Aurangzeb, the Shaista Khan was its Subedar. Its other important Subedars were Murshid Quli Khan, Ali Vardi Khan, and lastly the Sirajuddaulah, who was defeated by the Britishers in the Battle of Plassey in 1757. And Mir Qasim fought the Battle of Buxar in 1764. The Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II granted the Diwani of Bengal to the British East India Company in 1863. Under the Britishers, it became the Bengal Presidency. In 1905, it was partitioned into East Bengal and West Bengal by the Lord Curzon, the British Viceroy. In 1911, it was again reunited. In 1947, it was divided into the East Pakistan and the West Bengal. On 26th March 1971, it emerged as Bangladesh. The father of the nation of Bangladesh is Bangabandhu or Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Today is its Golden Jubilee Independence Day, and Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi have visited its capital Dhaka to celebrate the occasion. India and Bangladesh had some areas of disputes also. One, Teen Bigha. Second, Mughriyar. Third, New Moor Islands. Fourthly, Frakka Barrage, which is almost resolved. Enclaves and exclaves were also disputed areas, and that was resolved. Then Tista water dispute, Tista river water dispute. Then illegal migration, mainly of Rohingyas, terrorism and fundamentalism, and anti-India propaganda. In 1971, the Indo-Pak War took place for the liberation of East Pakistan, and Pakistan was defeated. And regarding the 1971 war, in our channel, there is one video that is in detail explained by Air Marshal retired R.S. Bedi. You can have a look over there. On 19th March 1972, Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation was signed. It is also known as Indira Mujib Treaty for 25 years. The independence of Bangladesh also eroded the view that religion by itself can be a lasting glue for nationalism, thereby destroying the two-nation theory. Indo-Bangladesh relation can be classified into the four periods. Firstly, 1971 to 1975, we had good relations. Awami League was in power. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was the head of the Bangladesh, and this period is called by various scholars as a honeymoon period. In 1975, Bangabandhu was assassinated, and the next is 1975 to 1990. This period gone through the various upheavals. General Ziaur Rahman, who formed the Bangladesh National Party, he converted Bangladesh into an Islamic state. From 1990 to 2010, the relations for some time again not good because of the Babri Masjid demolition in 1992. One of the writers of Bangladesh, Taslima Nasreen, wrote a novel, Lajja, that was also a source of controversy between the two. Later on, the Indian government adopted the look east policy, and the relation started getting hottier. From 2000 till date, Sheikh Hasina of the Awami League is in power, and she made one of the poorest of the poor country to one of the rising economies in the world. How that we'll discuss in the further. One of the world's poorest countries in 1972, Bangladesh is now racing to be in the world's top 25 economies by the end of this decade. 75 years after the first in 1947 and 50 years after the second in 1971, in the east, Delhi and Bangladesh have started finding ways to overcome the tragedy of partition that brought a new course of bilateral and regional cooperation over the last decades. Prime Minister Mrs. Sheikh Hasina has invested much in the transformation of Bangladesh bilateral ties with India. India has reciprocated in a good measure. Bangladesh continues the struggle to reconcile compounding domestic political perspective about 1971. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has provided among leadership and advancing ties with India over the last decades and more. Her success in providing domestic political stability and generating rapid economic growth were critical in providing the enabling environment for the construction of bilateral ties with India. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh invested considerable diplomatic energy into the transforming bilateral relations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also made an international tribunal award, for the resolving of the maritime territorial disputes with Bangladesh. The steady improvement in bilateral relations over the last decade has reflected in the growing trade volumes, expanding trans-border connectivity, mutual cooperation on terrorism, and widening regional cooperation. Prime Minister Mr. Modi was right to proclaim a golden age in bilateral relations. We are only at the dawn of the age. There is much that remains to be done to realize the full potential of the bilateral relationship. India and Bangladesh deepens bilateral ties over the last decades. India and Bangladesh have steadily moved forward on issues relating to the trade, transit, and connectivity by dealing with them on their own specific merits. What Bangladesh has done in the last decade to generate major gains at home, transform the Eastern South Asia, and elevate Bangladesh global standing. In the last decade, India-Bangladesh relations have warmed up, entering a new era of cooperation. And moving beyond historical and cultural ties to become more simulated in the areas of trade, connectivity, energy, and defense. Bangladesh and India solving their border issues peacefully by ratifying the historical land boundary agreement in 2015, where enclaves were swapped, allowing inhabitants to choose their country of residence and became citizen of either India or Bangladesh. Bangladesh today is India's biggest trading partner in South Asia, with exports to Bangladesh in 5 years, 2018-19, at $9.21 billion and imports at $1.04 billion. On the development front, cooperation has depended, with India extending 3 lines of credit to Bangladesh in recent years, amounting to $8 billion for the construction of roads, railways, bridges, and ports. Bangladesh make up a large portion of tourists in India, out of numbering all tourists arriving from Western Europe in 2017, with 1 in every 5 tourists being a Bangladeshi. Bangladesh accounts for more than 35% of India's international medical patients and contribution more than 50% of India's revenue from medical tourism. A direct bus service between Kolkata and Agartala, the capital of Tripura, runs a route distance of 500 kilometers as compared to the 1650 kilometer if it ran through the Chicken Neck to remain within India. Recently, a 1.9 kilometers long bridge, the Maitri Setu, was inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, connecting Sabroom in India with Ramgarh in Bangladesh. Bangladesh GDP growth in 2019 was at 8.4%, twice than of India's during that year. And it is one of the few countries to have maintained a positive growth rate during the COVID-19 pandemic. Its GDP per capita is just under $2,000, almost the same as India's. In 5 years, by 2026, Bangladesh will drop its least developed country tag and move into the League of Developing Countries on a par with India. Just as Vietnam amazed the world with its fastest paced growth, so has Bangladesh done. Vietnam instituted market and economic reforms known as Doi Moi in 1986, which enabled to achieve rapid economic growth and industrialization. It began with manufacturing of textiles and garments, in which it is now a prominent global player, and moved into making mobiles and electronics. Bangladesh has followed the similar strategy as followed by Vietnam. Its rise is directly connected with the textile and garment industry, which accounts for 80% of the country's exports. Bangladesh also enjoys preferential trade treatment with the European Union, Canada, Australia, and Japan with negligible or zero tax. Bangladesh has enhanced its agriculture production, power generation, natural gas exploration and production, pharmaceuticals, and foreign remittances. Like Vietnam, its foreign investment regime is investor friendly. Bangladesh scores over almost all other developing countries in microfinance, a model it has exported. Government schemes like Pushti Apas, means nutrition sisters, and community health clinics has helped Bangladesh in the development indexes. Bangladesh fares better on infant mortality, sanitation, hunger, and gender equality than many countries, including India. According to one of the Bangladeshi scholars, Both countries have suffered since 1947 without connectivity at huge cost. Now it is the time to integrate our power system, think about free trade, liberalize the visa regime. India need not always carry the burden of South Asia's development alone. It now has a partner with whom to collaborate effectively towards achieving their goals. Thank you very much.